A nanny state? A nanny state? Is that what you think this country is? Do you think this country is taking care of the people that are on unemployment because they care about the people? I think in the last 8 years we cared more about the corporations and what it is that was best for them than what we did for the people. And that's why we have the Great Recession that we're still in spite of what Ben Bernanke says. Ben Bernanke the other day said that we're coming out of this, that we won't have a double-dip recession, but unemployment rates are still high. Why? Because people are still unemployed. And why would that be? Because they choose not to work? Because they don't want to find a job? Because they prefer to be on unemployment? No. None of those things. Maybe a few. And those few are the exceptions. They're not the majority. The majority don't want to be on unemployment because they were used to making a lot more money while they were working. But those jobs that they were working at, the corporations took the opportunity in this downturn to shed millions of jobs that aren't coming back. And why would they? Yes, the president gave tax incentives to these corporations, and some of you in my last post suggested that if tax incentives were given again in corporate tax breaks, that people would be hired. But let's stop and think about something. Things have changed. It's not like the past. These rules that you refer to are from the past and don't refer to this current time. These corporations don't have to hire these people back because they can find somebody in Taiwan to make the Apple iPhone 4 as they did for $300 a month. A month. Now, how do American businesses get created here, manufacturing facilities here, and hire Americans that require at least $400 a week, after taxes you're taking home about $3, to be able to pay the bills? Our lifestyles in this country and the expenses in this country aren't like what they are in Taiwan. But American corporations have been allowed by our government and our representatives to export our jobs overseas to other countries, and it was said to be okay. It wasn't okay. It was very short-sighted, and our government, our representatives, allowed it to happen. At the same time, they didn't stop and think that the tax base, the money that the states and the federal government rely on from income taxes, were being shipped overseas as well. So it wasn't just our jobs, it was the tax base. And now states are raising property taxes and sales taxes and everything else to make up for the loss of taxes from wages. And people are on unemployment. They can't get the money because they can't find the jobs to replace the ones they lost. And we continue to allow this to happen because of contributions from corporations that allow this to happen. And many say that are working for the government or in a secure job paid for by the government that it's okay that these people in the private sector that are unemployed should get back to work, find something, even if it's a position as a greeter at Walmart, just to pay the bills so that the rest of us don't have to pay. Well, number one, employees don't pay unemployment taxes. Businesses do. You may pay something indirectly to the federal government for emergency unemployment benefits, but you don't pay the unemployment benefits businesses do. And for those corporations that outsource the jobs, they should be paying higher unemployment insurance taxes because of the cost that they cost the rest of us in order to ship the jobs over there where they earned extra revenue by hiring cheaper labor. There was a cost to doing that, but they didn't pay that cost. We are right now. We are by the loss of our jobs. And many of you say that these people are lazy slugs that don't want to do anything. They just want to sit around and be lazy and not find a work. Well, I disagree. I think that most people, given the opportunity to find a decent job to be able to provide for themselves without having to take a handout, would do so, and me included. Now, I'm starting my own business. I'm not waiting for the government because in spite of the fact that the president has said that he's going to create the environment in which jobs can be created in this country, the odds are stacked against him. Number one, corporations don't have to hire somebody in this country when their type of work and their product can be manufactured overseas for a lot less money. And also, banks are not lending money to small businesses, which the president says are responsible for creating the majority of the jobs in this country. And why would banks have to lend money to businesses and take that risk in an economy that still hasn't recovered when they could simply proprietary trade on Wall Street with the wild fluctuations of the market up and down 200 points and make their money that way and get cheap money from the Fed at 0.5% when we can't get it from the Fed for that? Now, instead of our government also creating a banking system that's run by them that we can borrow from to compete with the private banks that won't lend money. They don't. They refuse to do that. Instead of implementing some kind of natural program like what Eisenhower did with the interstate highway system that created a system that we all use now for commerce and for traveling back and forth to our jobs, they don't. They could hire 5 million people to put them to work for $150 billion and $50 billion more for cement and different things that are needed to complete these projects. They could give the states $50 billion in order to fill their hole in their debt and their deficit in order so that they don't have to continue to raise taxes, but they don't. So the government could create more of an environment than what they are, but they're not. Why? Because they want, apparently, to keep people unemployed. While people are unemployed, they're more malleable. They can be positioned to accept changes that the government feels are necessary. And that's the reason why I believe that people are not being put back to work more quickly. Now, the types of jobs that are being created in this country will also be exported due to the internet, information technology, IT, and things like banking can all be done in India for a lot less than what they can be here. And we don't have legislation in place in order to stop that kind of practice from happening. But it's short-sighted because the very people that they're causing to lose their jobs here will no longer have the buying power to buy the products that are made less expensively overseas. And therein lies the problem. So until we have smart legislators that know this and realize that they are working against their own interests by allowing these corporations to ship the jobs over there, like Apple, Foxconn paying their people $300 a month, how does an American business justify hiring people in this country in order to manufacture anything when they can get it done over there and then still come over here with clever marketing and sell it to us? The new iPhone 4. You want one, don't you? Did you see the stampede of people that were lined up in order to get one? Yes. We're helping to create our own problems as American citizens by buying these products that are made less expensively by corporations that have shipped their jobs overseas. And you feel that jobs are coming back? No, this recession is different than any other. The one in 2001 was different too because the jobs didn't come back as much then, like they haven't come back now, but more so now. And Ben Bernanke and all of the different people that are in our government realize exactly the situation that we're in. This is a depression. It's not a recession. The only thing that keeps it from looking like the 1930s is that we have government programs like food stamps and unemployment benefits and different subsidies that help to keep the safety net there to keep us from all the ones that have lost their jobs that aren't working for the government from falling through. And this is the problem. And this is why unemployment needs to be extended until this country realizes that our government has a responsibility to keep the jobs here. And if you can call it protectionism, I don't care, because we need to take care of people here in this country before we start building projects in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and around the world and helping other countries develop jobs there. We need jobs here. I'm all for helping the rest of the world, but not before we help people here in this country first. And that's the thing that our leaders seem to fail to realize. They can't keep exporting our jobs and expect us to still continue to be the market that we've always been and to have the lifestyles that we deserve. We built this country, and we're building every other country around. And you think that people want to be on unemployment? No, things have changed considerably from the past